What's going on, guys? Welcome back to ETB Boxing, where we bring the story behind every punch and every fight. I wasn't going to do another video about, Canelo predictions. I've already done a video about this one person, but I got a lot of traction on YouTube. Apparently, a lot of people like this person's take. We have Fight Hub TV, Marcos Villegas. If you haven't seen his channel, I usually react to a lot of his content. He's in California. He gets to see a lot of the boxers out there and coaches. So, shout out to Marcos Villegas. If you see this video, thank you. I appreciate you letting me react to your content. However, today he's speaking with Abel, and you're going to want to hear it. Abel has been pretty consistent. I haven't seen the whole part. I just saw a piece of it and I thought, okay, this is good to react. Let's react to it real time. Let's see what Abel Sanchez has to say about the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight. You're going to want to listen to it.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Marcos Villegas, Fight Up TV in Las Vegas, being joined now with Abel Sanchez as we are going to go ahead and chat a little bit about this Canelo versus Crawford fight happening this weekend at the Allegiant Stadium. Abel, I was looking at past interviews you did, so I'm curious to see if you still see the fight the same way you saw in the last few interviews that we done with you. You felt that Canelo's going to win, that size matters, and what is Crawford going to do to a Canelo given the other opponents weren't able to really hurt him or do anything to him? Do you still hold that view of this fight, or has it changed a little bit?
Okay, I wasn't able to witness the weigh-in yesterday. From what I heard from everyone, he looks in great shape. Canelo. Yeah. He looks in tremendous shape. He looks better than he's looked in a while. I think that the name Crawford is motivated and opened up and some memory in the past that some things he wasn't doing mentally, and I think he's even more focused for this fight than he's been for the last 3 or 4 fights. So yes, I do still believe it's the same thing. What is that same thing? I think that Canelo will have a difficult time in the first 3 or 4 rounds, because I think speed is going to matter at the beginning until it assimilates the smaller guy's hand speed. But from the 4th round on, I think Canelo is going to coast to a 4 or 5 point victory.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing that you brought up too.
And I mentioned that in my other video, guys, that in the weigh-in, if you haven't seen the weigh-in video I did, Canelo looks more motivated. And I think Abel Sanchez, although I kind of didn't like him in the past. He had a big mouth, but I mean, that's part of his job when he was with Triple G. It woke something up in him, and I think the same thing for Crawford, but more so for Canelo, because, it's hard to get motivated when you have $300-400 million in the bank, guys. Not anything is it's going to get you going. So good point by Abel. I can't disagree.
I think you said that I don't know if it reminded you or you brought up Gennady's fight with Kell Brook and you thought that there was similarities there. And I thought, wow, that's actually really interesting, because in that fight, Kell did land punches, but just the power and the size was too much.
Exactly, but it wasn't so much the power that I was looking at, is that he was able to land the punches because of his speed at the beginning until Gennady, Gennady, we sparred with smaller guys, but Kell Brook and, Terence Crawford obviously is a great talent. It's not like we didn't bring him in to spar with us. So when you get in there and they start throwing those fast punches, it takes you a little bit to figure them out, to figure out not only the speed, but the nuances that how they're throwing their punches. So I think Canelo will have not a difficult time, but we'll have issues with it at the beginning. But after that, it should be business as usual for him, as he's been in the last 3 or 4 fights.
And this is where my theory comes, guys. I haven't heard anyone else say this. Everyone's saying it's 50-50, blah, blah, blah. I still believe, and I will eat my words tomorrow if I'm wrong. I still believe it's a 70-30 fight. We just don't know which fighter it's going to be the 70% advantage and the 30 disadvantage. I think Abel Sanchez clearly thinks Canelo is the one that has that 70-30%. If there's 70% chance of rain, it's going to rain. It's going to win. But the key is, if Crawford comes out with something different, something special, then it switches. Then Crawford has a 70% chance of winning. I've been saying that. Everyone's saying 50-50. It is not a 50-50 fight, guys. In my humble opinion. What do you think? You think I'm wrong? Comment and let me know.
Like with Crawford being like more muscular, more bulked up. You hear these stories that like he's freaky strong, that he can handle like bigger guys.
You remember a guy named Tim Bradley, right?
Yes.
He had a beautiful body, beautiful muscles, beautiful 24 pack. That doesn't equate to power. You know, what Canelo has done in the last, say, 3 or 4 years, he's trained, he's fought, he's sparred. He's worked with guys at a higher weight level. So he's been able to get stronger, physically stronger, just by doing all that. The unfortunate thing for Crawford, as I said in the past, is that he moved up one division and now he's moving up another 2 without really maturing his body in a way strength-wise that he, as Canelo has in the 3 or 4 years. So I think that's going to be a problem, that he gained weight, that he got stronger. Supposedly muscles mean nothing to body strength and being able to muscle somebody inside the ring. So no, it'll help him a little bit, but it won't be a difference.
You being a coach, Abel, and knowing how to craft game plans and really like see how fights can play out, do you see Crawford trying to push Canelo back, trying to, I don't know, show him he's the boss, and if he does fight that way, more or less what will happen?
At the beginning, I see that, of course. I think Crawford,
it's like paramount for him to do that, right?
he has to do that. In my opinion, he has to do that. But can he do that for 12 rounds? He's not going to fight a skull fight. Crawford's too much of a warrior and too much of a winner.
Well, people were thinking that that's the way.
Fight a skull fight, I'd be so surprised if he did, because I don't think that he could live with himself if he did. He's going to try to knock Canelo out. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Maybe not with one shot, but he's going to try to throw combinations, punches and bunches to try to keep Canelo off his game. But in the middle of those, Canelo's is going to be able to land some. So when he does land some, I think that'll have more effect than Terrence's punches.
Yes.
And Oscar De La Hoya talked about one of the downfalls of Crawford is one of his best attributes is that the heart. He's not going to run, guys. If you guys think Crawford is going to run and skip around, he's not going to do that, man. Crawford's a winner. He's undefeated for a reason. People avoided him for a reason. There was a lot of downside to him. He didn't have the big names. His pay-per-view numbers weren't that great, but that doesn't mean anything when it comes to skill, talent, and ability. No one could touch him in his weight classes. You know, that's evident. But he will stand and trade with Canelo. Mark my word, he will. Abel Sanchez thinks so. If you don't think so, if you think he's going to be running around, he's not, man. This guy is going to try to come and win and knock out Canelo Alvarez.
It's interesting, Abel, because the team has said, Bomac has said, we don't have to knock out Canelo to win. We just have to box him. He can be outboxed. He loses to boxers. He has problems with boxers. But
Early.
Yeah.
But how many fights in the last, other than Vivo, who was Canelo Crawford kind of comparison, only the other way around, who has he had problems with? At the beginning, he has problems with, say, Charlo. Then after that, he just mowed him down. After that, actually most of his fights have been sparring practice, really sparring from the 5th, 6th round on, they're sparring. So, he has problems at the beginning, like I said, because of maybe better boxers, better speed, but they both have great IQ, ring IQ. They both are very intelligent inside. They both read so well. It's just, in my opinion, again, it's the weight, the weight and the force that is going to be with the punches that he's going to throw.
Some people have mentioned that Crawford, just IQ-wise, that can bridge the gap and make a difference in there, where he can be like smart in there with Canelo. If Crawford, if they go 12 rounds and there is a decision, like, do you feel that we'll get something that's split given the styles?
Well, first of all, do you think Madrimov would have been able to land the punches on Canelo that he landed on Crawford? Absolutely not.
Okay, the punches that he landed on Crawford, do you think he would have been landed on Canelo? I know some people when this is the other thing I wanted to ask you too, was like some people will say like, well, Canelo looks like he's kind of slipping a little bit. Like maybe he would be able to land those punches.
What has he done? Just because he doesn't want to knock nobody out? What has he done? Everybody's controlling. Everybody that he fights, he's controlling from the 5th round on. So it's more like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to knock him out? Why expose myself in a manner that I don't have to? I don't think he has to in his mind. I'm sure as a coach looking at him, I am sure that if he wanted to turn it up a little bit, he could. But what's the sense? Really, what's the sense? The crowd came, paid good money for the tickets. He's a performer. He's going to perform.
Nah, that doesn't really happen.
Now, guys, that's a really good point from Abel. You could argue that, nah, it's just he can't. He's slowing down. Maybe he is. I mean, of course, 35 compared to 25, your body's going to break down a little, right? But if you remember Pretty Boy Floyd compared to Money Mayweather, Pretty Boy Floyd was knocking people out. He was knocking people out. As he got bigger, he was having more wrist problems, but Floyd didn't knock people out anymore in his later career. Could he have? Yes, he could have. But he didn't need to expose himself to put himself in danger to knock people out. If it comes and comes. But he did not knock people out in his later career, but it didn't, because he didn't need to, I believe. And I think Abel makes the point for Canelo, and I think he might be right. What do you guys think?
Happened through fighter's mind, right?
Absolutely.
You always hear, I don't get paid for overtime.
No, but he's a sparring session.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was a difficult fight, okay, like the Bivol fight, then I'm sure he's not gonna let any rounds go by. But in fights like the Plant fight and fights like the Ryder fight, I mean, look at them. Look at his opponents when he gets finished with them.
Yeah, he has said that even after, like, they kind of go on a decline and then they're not the same.
Look at their bodies, look at their faces.
They're beat up. They take a lot of damage.
And look at him.
True.
Yeah.
Minus Bivol.
Minus Bivol. So, like I say, could Madrimov land those shots on Canelo? Would Canelo allow that to happen if it was getting to that point? No. In my opinion, okay? But that's why we're anticipating a great fight tomorrow from two great fighters, and I think Canelo will win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford kept it close.
Okay. Do you foresee a controversial result?
I sure hope not. Our game doesn't need that right now. I hope not. I hope that if Crawford wins, then Crawford wins. If Canelo wins, then give it to Canelo. This thing with you got to beat the champion, I don't think that should be it. I think that if Crawford wins the rounds, he should get the points. I don't see Canelo allowing him to do that, though. Allowing it to be close.
This got brought up yesterday during the press conference, and I know, you as a coach, I don't know if you had this on your mind when you went into the fight that you had with Canelo, the 2 times, mentioned that you fight Canelo in Vegas, you're already down a round or 2. Like, do you believe in that? Is that a thing?
I wouldn't say it that way. I would say that boxing, the history of boxing in Las Vegas has always had a special talent here. Okay, we had it with Chavez, we had it with Tyson, we had it with Mayweather, we had it with De La Hoya. So Canelo right now is the flavor of the month, and if he does well, he'll get the decision. Obviously, Terrence has to believe that just so that he does better than well. If he believes that's the way it is, I've said to a lot of fighters that I've taken overseas, like when I took we fought Parker in New Zealand with Andy Ruiz. Yeah, when I took Andy Ruiz over there at the airport, I said to him, right now we're 3 points down. Right now we're 3 points down. Why? Because we're fighting in New Zealand. We're fighting against New Zealanders. All those points. So if Crawford takes that mindset into the ring, then maybe we're going to see one of the greatest fights of recent history. Huh?
So that is present then, right? Was it present? Yeah.
It has to be. I think it has to be. Maybe it's not present in the actuality, but it has to be in one's mind because you're going against a house fighter, let's just say. And if you're going against a house fighter, you better do better than regular.
Looking at this and looking like the legacy potentially of both fighters, one with a win for Crawford, what do you think it will do with him legacy-wise? And what do you think it does to Canelo's legacy if he loses to a guy that's smaller than him like Crawford?
Well, Canelo's the one that's got most to lose. If he loses to a Crawford, then he was declining. Yeah, he was, hasn't been the same in 3 or 4 fights. But you're talking about a great fighter, okay? If he wins the decision, then you're going to chastise him because he was a smaller guy. But then again, when Floyd won all those decisions, nobody said anything, right? So he's in a no-win situation. For Crawford, I think that it's an accomplishment that's unrivaled in a long, long time. I think it's a great win for him if he does win. If he gets a knockout, it's even a greater win. He wins the decision. I think that it does a lot for his legacy, and it does a lot for his standing. Whether he fights after that, I don't know. But like I said, Canelo's the one with the most to lose.
Yes. In my opinion, Canelo has to knock out Terrence Crawford to get credit for this fight. To get any credit, if he wins a decision, it's like, oh man, he was a smaller guy, could have knocked him out, whatever. But if he knocks him out, he's gonna get credit for it. Not even all the credit. Well, he should have knocked him out. He's smaller. So Canelo has to knock out Terrence Crawford in order for him to get some credit. A lot of people are on the other side for Crawford. Hey, if he beats Canelo, he's get full credit. No, he's not. Maybe by the boxing experts and the analysts, by the crowd, the people who fund this, the people who watch this, and the majority will not give him credit. Crawford, however, can either win a decision or even better by a knockout. Either way, it elevates him to one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion. And one of the greatest of all time that didn't get all the credit throughout his whole career the way he should have because of the opponents, because promotional issues, you know, TV deals. You know, there should have been Crawford versus Spence a long time ago before they fought. There could have been Crawford versus Porter before they even fought. You know, Porter was already on the way out. There could have been Crawford versus Thurman, Crawford versus Garcia, Crawford versus so many people, but he never got the chance. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Ending this off, Abel, I saw some tweets maybe a month or two ago about Gennady potentially coming back. What did you see those, and what do you make of that?
No, I didn't see those, and I hope he doesn't. You look at a great career. He's doing great right now with the amateur things that he's doing right now. I hope he doesn't. But it's unfortunate that a lot of times we as coaches too, we miss that pat on the back. Hey coach, how you doing? Or hey champ, how you doing? So we miss that. And if he does, I hope that he gets in great shape. I hope that he prepares himself the correct way and he doesn't risk any kind of damage, future damage.
You know, I said this was the last one, but I'm actually just curious. Follow up. Why is it so hard for them to stay away? Fighters in general, like you've been in this game a very, very long time, Abel, and you've been in situations like that. Why is it so hard?
Sometimes monetarily, obviously, but sometimes they miss that. Hey, champ, how you doing, champ? You know, you're fighting again, champ. Yeah, it's the attention, and some guys are content.
I'll cut Abel Sanchez low. The reason why boxers, elite athletes, guys, come back when they shouldn't, one, monetarily, but two, there's no other high. Walking into a stadium full of people cheering you on. How many of you all have that experience? Elite football players, elite baseball players, they walk into these stadiums full of people cheering you on. There's no high. There's no other high. It's the ultimate drug. And it's hard to stay away from it, especially boxing, because it's all you. Hey, Triple G, the former monster, the guy knocked everybody out, the guy that cheered him on, Triple G, big drama show, you know? It's hard to stay away. Anyway, that's my last video on Abel Sanchez speaking about Crawford versus Canelo. It's my last video on Canelo versus Crawford. I'm gonna get ready for the fight. I'm going to be calling the fight. Obviously I can't stream it, but I'm gonna be calling the fight, fight companion type of thing. Let me know what you think. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Let's support the channel. That's the story. That's the punch. That is ETB Boxing.